everyone, and welcome to the 13th episode of Down the Hobbit Hole. My name is Emily, and today is Thursday, May the 15th, 2017, and this is my weekly podcast about knitting and spinning and all things making. We are coming to you today from East Tennessee, where I live with my husband, my fluffy pup, Tesla, who you may see wandering around in the background. He's out here with me today. And my cat, who is watching from the window at the moment. So supervision is under control. If you'd like to find us online, you can find me on Instagram as MistyMountMakers, and you can find me on Ravelry as MistyMountMakers, and you can find the Ravelry group in the Groups tab if you search for Down the Hobbit Hole, where you can join and chat with us. We've got a chatter thread going for our current Cal, which I'll talk about in a minute. And if Ravelry and Instagram are not your thing, but you still want to comment or donate a prize or just have a question, you can email me at emily@mistymountainmakers.com. Speaking of Cals, we have one Cal going on at the moment. It is the There and Back Again Cal, and it is going on through August the 12th, and we are currently knitting just anything Lord of the Rings, Middle-earth, Hobbit, Tolkien themed. You see a little blob go across the screen. Sorry about that, there is an ant investigating my phone while a spider builds a web over here. There's another one building a web on my wheel, so we're outside today, like usual. But our Cal, we are knitting, crocheting, anything Lord of the Rings themed, Hobbit, Middle-earth, Tolkien, and we are also tracking our mileage to see how far we've walked over the course of the Cal, and to see how far that places us in Middle-earth. So I checked I checked on the Eowyn Challenge website, which you'll be able to find below along with all the information I told you about earlier, but I have currently gone, and this is as of yesterday, 107.87 miles. So that places me leaving Tom Bombadil's house and about to get captured by the Barrow-wights. So it's exciting times in Middle-earth right now. We have some other people who have been posting in the chatter thread their progress. I think Lauren, she took a trip to New York and went to TNNA, which I'm super jealous about. But she, I think, is somewhere in the 180 something mile range, which is super impressive. But remember, not a race. Just do the mileage you can. And if you are tracking your mileage, head on over to the group and tell us in the chatter thread where you are. And if you're like me and you haven't, if you haven't been tracking your mileage, but like me, you have a Fitbit or something along those lines, you can go back and check your mileage over the course of, we started on May the 7th. So you can go back, check your mileage, and see where you are and just start taking part now. And on that note of other nitty things going on, last weekend was Worldwide Knit in Public Day. So Tim and I were planning on going on a hike, but that kind of fell through. We stayed up really late watching Dragon Ball Z, and he picked up 2 bottles of whiskey, or not whiskey, 2 bottles of vodka, and actually found a vodka that I like. And vodka's he's a big fan of vodka. He is Russian. He was born there and moved here when he was 6. So that's kind of his drink of choice. And the vodka that I really like, it's by Knox Whiskey Works, which you wouldn't think, great vodka, but yes, they make an amazing vodka. And I was really, really surprised. And they're actually distilled here in East Tennessee, over in I think it's over in Knoxville. And you can actually go take a tour and sample what they have. I think it's like $10 to take the tour, and you get shots at the end, so not a bad deal. I had their coffee liqueur, and that's fantastic. Really, really good, especially if you get sweetened vanilla almond milk. Not that this is, some kind of bartending podcast, but just if anybody's interested, really great drink choice. So yes, when we woke up on Saturday, super dehydrated, had not been drinking enough water to go on a hike. It wasn't going to be a good day for it, so we decided just to go to Maryville, went to the coffee shop. Sorry about the airplane. I just kind of tuned it out, but I just noticed. So we went to Maryville, and we went to a coffee shop, checked out a couple of the smaller boutiques in the area, because we haven't been there in a while, so kind of gives me an idea for next time we go out there. And went by hook and needle and got my passport for the East Tennessee Yarn Crawl, and dropped by the library because they do quarterly book sales, and we weren't sure when the next one was, and it was actually happening right then. So we went in, and I found the most fantastic book, and I will tell you about it towards the end in the not so nitty portion. But it was a good day. I tried to knit everywhere we went while we were walking around. I was just working on my shawl. So it was a good day. Got lots of knitting done in people's faces, as not obnoxious, or as unobtrusively as possible. Just anywhere we went, I was knitting. We put a couple photos up on Instagram, but we were having so much fun that some of them didn't make it, just because it was too late by the time I thought of putting them up. Yeah. So we did get our passport, or my passport. Tim's not going, but for the East Tennessee Yarn Crawl. Oh. There we go. It's trapped under my spinning wheel. But it comes with a tote bag to put all your purchases in, and it's got 2 pockets. And I've already worked out with a couple friends of mine, Lissa and Shay, and we are going to be knocking out most of the yarn crawl over the course of 2 days. So this Saturday, we're going to hit the 2 furthest stores, which are Carriage House, which is in Kingsport, Tennessee, and we are going to Mountain Hollow Farm, which is in Tazewell, Tennessee. So I think altogether it's like 6 hours of driving. We haven't talked about who's driving yet, but I might be able to get some knitting done over that span. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll be able to get some stuff done. I really want to work on Tim's socks, so that'll be my plan there. But there are 8 shops that we'll be visiting all together, and I think it's really funny that those 2 are going to be 6 hours worth of driving, and then I think it's 2.5 hours of driving to go to 2, 3, 4, 5 of the other shops. Yeah, so we're gonna hit the first 2, the furthest ones away, on Saturday, and then on the 30th, which I believe is a Friday, we're gonna hit all the ones in the Knoxville area all at once. And while I am in yeah, can't see them, but there you go. Okay. We're going to hit those 2, and then on the 30th we'll hit all the other ones. While my family's in town, they're staying in Gatlinburg, so Tim and I are going to go separately to go see that one, and they'll find another day to go themselves, just to make it a little easier, so we don't have to kind of line up our days. And we don't know what we're going to be doing leading up to my family coming into town, so it's better just to kind of spread that out. While I'm doing the crawl, I will try to stop and take videos of the different yarn shops and play them after the podcasts that week. On the week when we do all of the yarn shops, I might break that up and spread it out over a couple of podcasts, maybe do like 2 shops a week, because that might be a bit much having like a half hour of yarn shop videos at the end. But I'll spread that out. I will be asking the shop if it's okay, and I want to make sure it's not like full of people who are going to be uncomfortable because I'm videotaping. So we'll see what shots we're able to get, but I'll try and get some for all the shops so you can kind of vicariously yarn hop with us. But yeah, that's coming up. So this Saturday, and check it out on Instagram. I'll have lots of photos and things as we go along. On to works in progress. Now I was really hoping that I'd have a finished object for you guys this week, but this is my first shawl, and I did underestimate how long it would take me to do the final rows, because at this point I only have 10 rows left, but that's going to be a solid couple of hours of knitting for me because I'm not a very experienced lace knitter, and I'm having to really pay attention. The nice thing is the repeats are, I think it's only like 10 stitches wide, so if I make a mistake I'm going to see it quickly. And one thing I really like is I have been making mistakes, but I have been catching them and figuring out how to fix them so that I don't have to tink back rows to get there. I just kind of drop some stitches and get it fixed. And the fact that I'm able to do that means that I am actually learning how the lace is constructed in there, I guess, if that makes sense. Because I'm able to pull it apart and put it back together pretty quickly. So I am happy that I'm starting to figure it out, and maybe I can get into more lace in the future, because this is the laciest thing that I've done so far. But here's about where I was last week. Where is it? Right here. But you can see that lace pattern is really coming together nicely, and it's going to look really nice once it's blocked. The boys are right over there. But here we go. And I really like the way that it's starting to look up top, because it's going to start adding more and more eyelets. And I've got the 10 rows, and then I have to bind off. And I've been weighing my yarn as I go, and I think I have about an ounce left. I'm pretty sure I'm going to play some yarn chicken. It's probably not the best idea, but I really don't want to dye more. I don't want to wait to dye more yarn. I could have dyed yarn while I was knitting, but I put it off. So we're going to see. I might be able to do it. And I think if it just comes down to the last row, not such a big deal. I'll be able to add it on just for that cast off, and hopefully that'll be okay. I might put in a lifeline just in case I need to rip back a couple rows just to kind of mix in that yarn a little bit. But we'll see. I know it's not the best plan. I know that, and yet I'm still doing it. We'll see. Hopefully it'll be okay. I'll keep weighing it as I go. But there that is. So I'm really hoping I can have this done by next week. That is definitely doable. So it will be done. Making a promise for next week, and I really hope I don't break it. Not gonna break it. The other thing that I've been working on, because I've been trying to be monogamous with that, failed a little bit, but not with knitting. So technically knitting-wise, I was monogamous. But I have been working on spinning 2 different items also. So I showed this last week. This is what I've been spinning from those rolags I made at the Spinning Guild meeting. So I've started mixing a little bit. I'm using the purple and the blue and just kind of pulling off. I spun one whole purple and then half of a blue. They're all different sizes. I don't know the weights. And I think ideally I'd want to fractal ply them, but at the same time, they're all different sizes and all different weights. So I don't really know how I would go about doing that. I'm sure I could if I had taken the time in the beginning to weigh them. But I think what I'll do is just slowly add in the blue in between the purples, and then once I get to the end, and I'll save a little bit of the purple, and then once I get into spinning the blues, I'll mix in some purples, and I'm probably gonna 2-ply it just back onto itself, but I'm not entirely sure. I might ply it with something else. I just don't have anything in my stash, I don't think, that'll work. And I don't plan on buying anything for this, so it might be something that I spin up separately to ply with it, or I might just fold it in on itself. We'll see. I'll figure it out. But just as a recap, and I think I'm just going to, unless I get like a hard case to keep them in, I probably will not spin Rolex again because I'm way too rough with them. But here's this one. And you can see the Angelina sparkling in there. And just bits and pieces of Rolex. There we go. Here's the purple. And these have a lot of the same filling, like a lot of the same add-ins. It's just this one's more of a purple base and the other one's more of a blue-black base. So I'm really excited to see how this winds up looking as a finished yarn. I want to have some decent yardage so I can actually make something out of it, possibly a cowl. And I'm kind of spinning it, no rhyme or reason, it's kind of thick and thin. I'm not trying to, I want some texture in it. I want it to be kind of clearly hand spun. So I'm leaving things kind of messy. Plus, I think I'd have to stop a lot with the Rolex because I keep getting blubs, but I'm just accepting the blubs unless they're too big. I don't want to stop and fix them. Because I like the look, which I think is the most important thing in spinning. I don't really track my twists per inch, or I don't even really ever check my yarn weight, but that might also be why I never end up knitting with my hand spun. I just kind of cuddle it once in a while, so we'll see. I'll figure something out with it. I've also been spinning. You may have noticed my guest star today. Not the coffee, but I am drinking coffee today. But yes, my wheel. So this is the wheel I was telling you guys about a few weeks ago. And, oh, here she is. Single treadle, pretty little wheel. Very portable. Now hosting a spider. Or 3. I think this isn't the same spider I saw before. Come here, bud. Come on. I think he's now living on my project bag. But, yeah, she's really cute. This is the part up here that was not working before, and it's still a little stiff, but Tim took a look at it, and what was happening was as it was tightening, something had warped or wasn't made quite right in the beginning, so it was leaning to the side. So Tim just had to kind of open up the hole a little bit in this top portion so that the screw could point straight down and not press up against the side. But someone had, and this wheel, I don't know if I mentioned this, my wheel, my mom found this and got it for me, and it has its one little bobbin. It's so cute. I really like it, so thank you, Mom. But someone had glued it together, which I've seen people glue wheels together when they're incomplete, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone glue a complete wheel together. So Tim was able to clean out the teeth of the screw, but the inside portion that he couldn't get to, that's actually where the screw goes in, he can't get all the wood glue out of that portion, So either it'll work itself out as I move the screw around, or what he'll have to do is when we get a set of wooden taps and dies, which I can never remember which one's which, but a tap and die set, it creates the teeth, that spiral on the outside of the screw, and it creates the spiral in the hole that the screw goes into. So he said what we may need to do is buy the piece that can go through the hole and kind of scrape that wood glue out. So we have options. She's working now. I just have to figure out a new drive band because the one I haven't quite found something I like, and I'm thinking I'm going to try out a different cotton yarn now, but I'm sure I'll find something in my stash that'll work. We might even have some kind of poly band where you melt the two ends together, so I probably have one of those somewhere that we might be able to use. But we'll see. She's spinning. I've been spinning this, and this is Falkland Merino Silk Noils, Firestar, and Alpaca from my aunt. Knew a woman who had 3 alpaca fleeces that she didn't want, possibly 4, I can't remember, but they sent them to me for free, which was awesome, so thank you, Aunt Laura. And she's actually coming to town, so I should probably show her some of what I'm making with this, but here it is. And it's just nice and fluffy. Most of this was waste off of my drum carder, but I went ahead and just carded it up again with a little bit of alpaca to hold it together and make it softer and squishier and more fun to spin. So that's what I'm working on here, and I'm going for a similar thick and thin, not like a planned thick and thin where you have them like evenly spaced and they're all kind of the same size. I'm just kind of letting it be inconsistent and forcing myself not to spin a thin, consistent yarn like I normally do. So I'm trying to break myself of that habit. And I really like the yarns I'm coming up with because they look a little more organic, I guess. I don't really like that term for something. I don't have a problem with the term organic, but I don't know, more natural, rustic, you guys know what I mean. So I've been having fun spinning that way, and I think it's going to make a really nice yarn. I'd like to get some silver metallic thread to ply with that, but the only thing we have locally is like the 10 yards that you get in the embroidery section, or I can order online and get like a cone of it. Maybe I'll check out Joann's and see what they have in the sewing section. I probably should have just done that in the first place. So I think that's all we've got for knitting and spinning this week. Hopefully next week I will have more, or I'll have a finished shawl for you guys to see. But before we go, I did want to mention just one thing. The podcast, it has over 50 subscribers now, which is great. That's really exciting. And I would like to do a giveaway when we get to 100 subscribers. So in order to make that happen faster, if you like the video, go ahead and hit that below, and so that other people will find it, and go ahead and subscribe. And once we get to 100, I will go ahead and do a giveaway. So, you know, tell your friends. Let's try to move that along so I can get out some yarn to somebody soon. But if all you're here for is the knitting and the spinning and the crafting, then thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys next week. And yeah, thank you. Before we get into this week's shop update, I just wanted to take a second to thank everyone who took part in last weekend's sale. We don't do sales very often, so I was glad to see a lot of people turned up to purchase some yarn, and that was really nice. I had a lot of fun going to the post office and getting everything shipped off to their new homes and getting everything packaged, so thank you again. So the shop update is actually going to be postponed today, so we'll be doing that update tomorrow, and that's kind of for 2 reasons. One, I decided to try recording way too late yesterday. It was about 2 when I got outside. It was about 88 or 89 degrees out here, and I was trying to kind of push through the heat, and then storm clouds started rolling in, so I rushed through it, and it was better that we just start over today. But also because I am also going to hook and needle tonight, because Christy will be having, she just got in her new wheel yesterday, so I said I'd be going by to kind of see how she's doing. She seemed to do much better when she was able to just kind of get home and spin on her own without people helping. So I wonder what kind of bird that is. So I don't think she really needs much help, but it is a brand new wheel, so it's I think a different drive than the wheel she's been practicing on. But by now she's probably got the hang of it since she got it yesterday. She's probably been spinning all night. But we're gonna go hang out. I'm gonna bring a bat for her, and we should have a good time hanging out. So rather than trying to remember to get the shop updated at 6 p.m. tonight, which is the 15th, it's a Thursday, I'm going to postpone that and do the shop update tomorrow. So that'll be Friday, June the 16th at 6 p.m. And I'll be getting up some skeins, and we've got new bats and everything, and I'll insert a video here or somewhere around here showing off the yarns and the bats. I didn't want to bring them outside and get like ants and caterpillars and vegetable matter in them, so I'll do that inside. So all of the yarns you're going to see are going to be our halfling base, which is 75% Corriedale wool, superwash Corriedale wool, and 25% nylon. And the bats will have different fiber contents, but if you're interested in one, if you think it looks nice, then definitely head to the listing and see what's in it. I'll try to put it on the screen, but sometimes there are so many items that I would just end up blocking the whole image. So check out the listings. But that'll be, well, we'll add the video here. That update will be happening tomorrow, which will be Friday, June the 16th at 6 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully we'll see you there. Alright, and I think that's everything for shop update. So on to the not so nitty portion. So I mentioned earlier we went to the book sale, and I found the most fantastic book. And it was only 25 cents, which was exciting because we brought a pretty small budget. We weren't even planning on going to the bookstore, but I think we had like $5 that we were going to have as just play money, going to the coffee shop and then walking around. So I found this. It's Demon Pig, and this is actually a sequel, but it starts, well, first off, I couldn't pass it up even if it is a sequel, and it is the sequel from The Pig, the Prince, and the Unicorn, which was about, there are 7 realms or something, some number of realms, and then there's a magical realm that's at war with all the other ones, and the magical realm is full of immortals, so it seemed like it was never going to end until they trapped the black unicorn, and every 100 years they have to lock the gates to the chaos realm. Tesla, you okay? Okay. Every 100 years, some new gatekeeper is found who has to go on a perilous journey to lock the gates to the Chaos Realm prison that they're keeping the magical black unicorn in, who is the warlord of the magical realm. And the little pig finds out that he is the gatekeeper, and he's going on this journey with, I guess, the prince, to lock the gates. But he finds out that the warlords aren't really evil, the ones who are trying to stop them. They're just desperate because their country was created by the black unicorn, and without him, everybody's starving and unhappy. So the pig makes a deal with the black unicorn that he will no longer wage war against the rest of the kingdoms, and they'll let him go. So they let him go. And I guess the warlords come back to life because he's supposed to marry one of them. It picks up like just before they make the deal with the unicorn. But it's surprisingly good. I didn't expect it. The pigs are pretty much little hobbits, and I'm just surprised. I've only read a couple pages, but it's written really well, and it's supposed to be kind of ridiculous, but still a good book. I think on the back it says, he has no magical powers with which to confront the forces of terror that enslave his world. Yet this rotund, comfort-loving young warrior must venture into the dark and terrible places to rescue his people, restore the peace, eliminate the evil pestilence, and if he's lucky, find time for a bite to eat. So, definitely hobbits in pig form, going on an adventure to save their kingdom. Hello, Tesla. Yes. Are you happy? Go on, Tesla. Be free. Put Pant over there. We don't need you as background noise. Go. That was Tesla, in case you couldn't tell. I'm looking forward to this. It's been very good so far. Only read a couple pages, but they did a good job of filling you in on the book before. They have a solid page. Had a solid page kind of telling you about it. So I'm really happy. I want to find more by her, I think. I've only gotten a couple pages in, but we'll see. By the end of this, I may end up filling my library with her books. But, oh, for property news, the boys have started crowing. It sounds pathetic. We heard it for the first time this morning because we were talking about one of the roosters who crows from like 4 a.m. until about 10 in the evening. He's starting to sound a little bit ragged. And as we're walking by the boys, it was like someone had a rusty old kazoo just blowing it from within the rooster's tractor. It was so sad, so pathetic, and I think they were a little ashamed, so they haven't tried again, but yeah, soon, it's coming. And the turkeys that have been hanging out, we found out there are 3 of them, and they have a pair of baby turkeys each, and the little chicks can still fly. They flew up onto the roof of our garage. I think we startled them, and the little chicks just jumped up there. For the most part, they don't really care about us at all. We come out and we'll watch them, and they just kind of check us out. They see that we're not moving very quickly, and then they go about their business. And they have a little trail that they've worked out going through our side pasture, just wandering past the boys. And we saw them yesterday coming up from our neighbor's property up. I think they went that way. Yeah, they did, because you can see the apple trees here behind me. They came up the front yard and to the side over the driveway, so they seem to be quite happy. The third bird, we couldn't see her chicks before because they're so small, but they've gotten just a little bit bigger, so now we can see them bopping about in the grass. We can still hear Gaston out in the distance somewhere, but we haven't seen him as much anymore. Yeah, leave it. something else. We do unfortunately have some sad news for the property. The little birds that I had a video of at the end of one of the first episodes, they were building their nests. Well, a rat snake got up there. We didn't see it before it got the eggs, we saw it after, so there's really nothing we could do, but it climbed. We weren't sure how it got up there, so I have some video that I'll put at the end of this, and I don't think it ate the birds, just the eggs, because I don't know how it would have snuck up on them, but the birds haven't been back. Tim took out my phone and took some pictures of the inside of the nest just to confirm that there are no eggs. And yeah, the snake hung out for a little while and then worked his way through I don't know if you'd call it the rafters of the porch, and I thought he was going to work his way down one of the supports into the grass and off into the woods. He actually went across the power line, squiggled his way across the top, and he was pretty big. He's a couple feet. I'd say maybe 3 feet. And he just worked his way along the power line back into the trees. So I was pretty impressed with that he managed not to fall off. But I'll include some video of that. It was sad, but it's nature taking place. So I don't know what I would have done if I had been out there before he ate the girl or the eggs, but nothing to do about it now. Aside from that, we haven't had much going on. Family's coming up next week. My brother will not be coming, unfortunately. And his family won't be coming, but we'll be able to see the rest of my dad's side of the family. We get to hang out with them, and it should be a lot of fun. Tesla's going to have a sleepover at our friend's house, so we've got everything kind of squared away, and I think we'll just be spending the next week getting ready for that and yarn crawling. So if you're going to be taking part in the yarn crawl, definitely let me know in the episode thread or down below in the comments. I'd love to hear what shops you're going to be hitting first and how you kind of got your track set up. And you can share pictures, show us your haul, whatever you're getting while you're out. And yeah, I think that's about it for this week. So definitely follow us on Instagram, like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe. And I will be seeing you guys next week. So see you then. Happy making.